For too long, we have been stuck in a democratic system that thrives on conflict and was designed to keep a representative government out of our reach. But the good news is there are common sense, proven ways to make our democracy better. A fair democracy should strive to have proportional representation, meaning that groups of voters can elect a share of political representatives that are in proportion to their share of the population. Let's see what our democracy could look like in an election that uses ranked choice voting to elect multiple representatives for one district. Imagine a city council race. In your district, there are 7 candidates running to represent you. There's Tracy Transit, Sebastian Schools, Pedro Parks, Heyoon Housing, Sophia Small Business, Bobby Big Business, and Tasha Tax Cuts. Let's see what happens if, instead of just one winner, there are going to be 3 winners that represent your district together. And instead of just voting for one candidate at the expense of the others, you get to rank your options from favorite to least favorite. Let's be honest, this is how we choose things in everyday life all the time, right? If you go to the ice cream shop and they're out of your favorite flavor, you won't give up and go home. You'll ask for your second favorite. Ranked choice voting works the same way. Your vote goes to your favorite candidate. But if they don't get enough support to win, then your vote will be transferred to your second favorite. That way, you still get a voice with your backup options. So, how do we figure out which of the 3 candidates best represent what the voters want? To win a seat in this election, 3 candidates all need to get support from over 25% of the voters, either as their top choice or one of their backups. Why that number? Well, once 3 candidates each get over 25% of the vote, we know they are the 3 with the most support. There wouldn't be enough votes left for anyone else to beat them. We start by counting up just the first choice votes. In this election, Heyoon Housing got 29%, well over the required 25% threshold. That makes her our first winner. If a candidate gets more votes than they needed to win, we don't want those extra votes to be wasted. So for all of the voters who put Heyoon as their first choice, a portion of their vote will go to the next person on their ballot. A lot of Heyoon's voters ranked Sophia Small Business as their second choice. So when a portion of those votes goes to Sophia, it pushes her over the threshold and she's elected. Now we need to find our third winner. Since no other candidate has reached the threshold, we eliminate the candidate with the fewest votes, Tracy Transit. Voters who selected Tracy have their vote instantly go to their next choice. We keep eliminating the candidates with the least votes and going down those voters' second or third choices until Sebastian Schools pulls ahead of Bobby Big Business and is over the threshold. We have our 3 winners. Now, I want to zoom in on an interesting thing that happened here. In this district, about 1/3 of the voters are parents with kids at home. Most of them are really interested in voting for Sebastian Schools or Pedro Park. At first, the voters who had kids were split between those 2 candidates, so neither of them were even in the top 3. But when Pedro was eliminated, pretty much all of his voters had put Sebastian in second place. So when those votes were transferred to him, Sebastian had enough votes to pull ahead of Bobby Big Business and ultimately win one of the seats. That's because Pedro and Sebastian did something cool. They didn't tear each other down to try to increase their share of the parent vote. Instead, they joined forces. They talked to voters about the values and backgrounds that they shared. As a result, all the voters got to vote for their favorite candidate, and they didn't have to worry about throwing away their vote or splitting the vote of parents in the city. They made a coalition based on shared values and positive campaigning. And in the end, the voters with families got the representation they deserve. So there you have it. Your city used ranked choice voting to elect multiple representatives for one district. Voters got to express their opinions in a more nuanced way. Communities got representation that's proportional to their share of the vote, and they reduced negative campaigning along the way. This is one thing in theory, but could it actually work? Yes. Ranked choice voting for multi-member districts has been used for decades around the world, including several US cities. Portland voters adopted the system in 2022. And ranked choice voting for single winner elections is even more common. Voters in Alaska and Maine use it for their statewide races. And a bunch of US cities and counties use it too, with more adopting it all the time, including Seattle. In 2021, New York City started using ranked choice voting, and it resulted in their most diverse city council in history. Candidates loved that it promoted positive campaigning, and voters reported that it was intuitive and easy. Do you want to learn more about how we can make this happen together? Get connected to Washington for Equitable Representation at representingwa.org.